I drew a proper landscape for the first time in over 8 years. Now, I was terrified. I had not done a landscape in such a long time, and I'm mainly a portrait artist, so I had no clue where to begin. But I started by doing like a photo bash, which I saw a couple of years ago, and it just like always interested me. So I got about like 5 different pictures that I personally took when I visited the Hearst Castle. And I wanted to create like this sort of garden-esque scene, combining a little bit more of the greenery that I saw, but also keeping some of the marble statues that I really enjoyed. So as you can see, I meshed the pictures together, kind of laying them out, figuring out my starting point, how I wanted everything to be composition-wise. And then after that, I used the selection tool and just really quickly filled in all the flat colors that I wanted. Now that front tree in the right corner was giving me so much trouble, so eventually I did just like replace it with another hedge, and it just made more sense compositionally as well. So once I got the flat colors in and most of the composition down, I went about just adding in more detail and fixing areas that needed to be fixed perspective wise, because some of it, and by some I mean a good chunk of it, was off just because of how quickly I did everything. I feel like if I were to redo this, I would have spent a little bit more time in the sketching process trying to get the composition right instead of diving in straight into the flat colors. But I'm still pretty happy with how the end result turned out, which you guys will see soon. Now for the actual like rendering style or process of it, I was kind of conflicted on how I wanted to go about this. Usually when I do my portraits, I have like either a very like painterly or like really rendered out style, and I wasn't sure how to translate that into this, but I feel like I kind of was successful at it. I feel like there were some things I would want to change up, mainly in the plants, because I wasn't really accustomed to rendering out plants, but I feel like we got there eventually. So in this part of the speed paint, I feel like you can really tell how much of the cleaning up and like fixing I had to do, because I didn't actually like plan it all out while I was sketching. So a lot of it was just like painting over stuff and like drawing new guidelines to make sure that it matched up with the perspective. And besides working on like adding lighter values, darker values, I feel like I spent a good amount of time just working on the actual lighting. I really wanted it to feel like it was glowing almost. So to do that, I used like a warm yellow, almost orangey kind of color, and I made that an add layer and decreased some of the opacity. So once I had it there, what I went and did was actually erase all the yellow that was in the shadow area. That way the like very like warm yellow would contrast a little bit more with like the cooler colors that I already had, and really emphasize that sort of like sunlight glowing feel. So at this point, it was mainly just like refining some of the details, adding a little bit more highlights, some more darker areas, just because I felt like there was some contrast that was missing. It all kind of was at the same sort of value, and because I was doing a foreground, midground, background, I really felt like adding those darker colors or highlights would really help separate the planes a little bit more. And I also went back and added some more texture to the hedge bush thing, because I felt like it was breathing kind of flat and it just didn't really fit well. And that's pretty much it. I'm really happy with how this turned out, especially with how long it's been since I've made a landscape. I hope you guys enjoyed my little explanations. I'm not really used to talking in my videos, but I figured if I'm going to be making videos for you guys, I might as well start getting used to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!